You've felt it, haven't you? That strange weight in the air. Like someone's spirit has been brushing against yours, silently and invisibly, as if his thoughts were reaching out to you in secret. The angels whisper. He doesn't just think of you. He aches with the presence of your absence. He plays it cool on the outside. Maybe even seems distant. But inside, there's a story unfolding. And you are at the center of it. This man, the one who's always caught between silence and surrender, has built walls so high that even he doesn't remember what lies behind them anymore. But you are the crack in his armor. You didn't mean to awaken him. You weren't even trying. You simply existed. Present. Real. A light in the flesh. And it changed everything. Now, he thinks of you constantly. Not because he wants to, but because your soul speaks a language his heart never learned, but always longed to understand. And that's the truth he still can't accept. He tells himself it's just fascination, just admiration, just timing. But the angels reveal. He knows. Deep down, he knows that what he feels for you doesn't go away. It grows. Every time you pull away, his thoughts chase you harder. Every time you shine, he curses the darkness he hasn't escaped yet. You represent something sacred and terrifying, not because you're hard to love, but because you're easy to love. Too easy for someone who was never taught to receive it. You remind him of what's possible, of what's pure, of what he's not sure he deserves. And so he hides. From you. From the world. From himself. But not from the divine. The angels say. His soul recognized you before his mind allowed him to. That's why he's conflicted. Why his energy pulls and resists. Why he thinks of you when he's alone. When he's tired of pretending. When the silence feels too loud. He hasn't faced this truth yet, that the connection between you two wasn't born in this lifetime. It was remembered. And that kind of love never disappears. You didn't imagine it. You didn't force it. You simply allowed it. And now, heaven waits. Because sooner or later, his heart will have no choice but to speak. For the Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God. 1 Corinthians 2 verse 10. He wasn't always like this. There was a time, maybe long ago, when love felt safe to him. When closeness didn't bring fear. When tenderness didn't mean danger. But something shifted. Life happened, in ways he still won't talk about. And so he learned to survive by silence. By being charming on the surface, and wounded underneath. The angels say. He wears his scars beneath his smile. And he's afraid you'll see them. You wonder why he comes close, only to pull away. Why his eyes soften, then vanish. Why he says he's fine, when every gesture screams otherwise. Here's the truth you haven't been told. He doesn't know how to receive what you offer. Your presence feels too honest, too healing. And for someone who has spent years building walls, that kind of love feels like exposure. He didn't choose to close his heart. He chose to protect it. Because someone somewhere once taught him that vulnerability equals danger. And that emotions are weaknesses. And that needing someone means risking everything. The way he avoids you, it's not rejection. It's resistance to the very thing he needs most, your love. But the angels also say, you are not here to fix him, only to remind him that healing is possible. Your kindness threatens his pain. Your warmth threatens his loneliness. Your truth threatens the story he's been telling himself to survive. And so he battles you, gently. With absence. With avoidance. With contradiction. But don't mistake that for indifference. He feels it. All of it. Every time you look at him and see more, he feels something inside unravel. That unraveling? It's his heart trying to remember how to open. And on some nights, when he lets his guard down, when the world is quiet, he almost reaches for you. But then the fear returns. He's afraid you'll see the places in him that still ache. Afraid you'll touch what no one else dared to. Afraid that if he lets you in, you'll leave. Because that's what pain taught him, that even love disappears. But love, real love, stays. Even in silence. Especially in silence. And that, dear soul, is what your presence whispers to him every day. You've given so much of yourself in quiet ways. The way you listen, even when no one asks how you are. The way you hope, even when he gives you half-truths. The way you stay, even when your spirit whispers that you're tired. The angels say, she forgets herself, in the name of love. But they see the moments you've dimmed your light to make space for someone else's shadows. They see the times you smiled through uncertainty. The silent prayers you've sent, asking not for attention, but for clarity. And now, they ask you something sacred. What if your heart doesn't need to wait to be chosen, to be cared for? You were never meant to pour from an empty vessel. And this connection, as divine as it is, was never meant to erase you. He's on a journey. But so are you. And just because he doesn't know how to hold your light doesn't mean you were born to dim it. You carry a fire. A gentleness that heals. But that gift is not only for him. It's for you. There's a kind of love that nurtures both. And you deserve to feel that too, not just give it. The angels whisper. Your energy is sacred. Protect it like a prayer. It's okay to love him. It's okay to hope. But it's also okay to rest. To put your hand on your heart and say, I choose me, not instead of you but alongside you. Because the kind of love that lasts starts with the one you give yourself. So tonight, light a candle for yourself. Wrap your own arms around your longing. And remember, you're not waiting for love. You are love. In motion. In breath. In presence. And the one who's meant to stand beside that kind of love will find their way. When you stop abandoning yourself, you become impossible to lose. He didn't expect you. Not your light. Not your depth. Not your stillness that reflects everything he's tried to escape. And now, he sees himself through your eyes, and it terrifies him. The angels say, she is not just a woman to him. She is a mirror. When you speak with grace, he remembers the words he never said. When you forgive easily, he remembers the grudges he still holds. When you love without trying, he realizes how much he's feared being loved for who he really is. You didn't mean to become his reflection, but your soul stood in front of his, and suddenly, he had no place left to hide. That's why he pulls away. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your presence brings everything unresolved to the surface. He sees his own pain in your kindness, his own hesitation in your patience, his own longing in your gaze. And for someone who's lived behind emotional walls, that kind of clarity is both divine and disorienting. The angels whisper. She reminds him of everything he buried. And still, she stays. You've become the space where truth echoes back at him. And some days, it's too much. Too loud. Too intimate. Too unfiltered. But that doesn't mean you're too much. It means you are exactly what his soul asked for, even when his mind can't accept it. He wants to come closer. He just doesn't know if he can bear being seen. You see the parts of him that others ignored. And you love the places in him that even he rejects. That's your power. And that's also why he runs. But even in the running, he's watching. Not with his eyes, but with his heart. Because deep down he knows. No one else has ever looked at him the way you do. Not as broken. Not as perfect. But as whole. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most healing thing of all. Something has shifted. You may not see it yet, but in the quiet corners of his being, something ancient is stirring. The angels say, he is waking up. And you were the bell that called his soul back. It started with a moment, a glance, a stillness, a feeling he couldn't explain, and couldn't forget. And now, when he closes his eyes, you're not just a memory. You're a presence, a light. He thinks of you when the world goes silent, when the noise dies down and his heart has space to speak. He doesn't talk about it, but he feels it. And feelings, dear soul, are how awakenings begin. He's beginning to notice the little things. How your laugh lingers in his chest. How your absence tastes like longing. How his thoughts pull toward you like the tide to the moon. This isn't coincidence. It's recognition. The angels show him watching from a distance, not out of disinterest, but out of reverence. Because when someone has lived half asleep, waking up hurts. It stings. It breaks the old stories wide open. But it also reveals something new. A world where love doesn't have to be earned through pain. A world where he is safe to feel. He's not there yet. But he's closer. Each thought of you is a thread pulling him toward truth. Each dream, each ache, each pause in his day, is spirit whispering. She is your mirror. Your medicine. Your map. And slowly, the resistance fades. Not completely, but enough for the light to slip in. You may not see it in his words, but if you look closely, in the way he lingers, the way he softens, you'll feel it. His soul is opening, not because you pushed, but because you shined. And that is how love begins to bloom. He comes, then disappears. Smiles, then withdraws. Whispers, then hides. And every time, it leaves you asking the same question. Why does he keep coming back if he's not ready to stay? The angels say, because you are both comfort and confrontation. And that is not easy to bear. You stir something in him, something he doesn't know how to hold. So he pulls away, not to hurt you but to escape himself. This cycle? It's not about you. It's about everything he hasn't healed yet. Each time he feels close to you, the old fears scream louder. What if I'm not enough? What if I lose myself? What if she leaves? So he runs. Back to the familiar. Back to the numbness. Back to the safe spaces that require nothing of him but silence. But the angels want you to know. His returns are not manipulation. They are confession. Every reappearance is a silent truth. I still feel you. I still want you. I still don't know how to love you the way you deserve. You are the one who breaks the pattern. The one who does not demand. The one who simply is, radiant, constant, true. And that constancy, it confuses him. He's used to love that punishes. You offer love that waits. He's used to coldness. You are warmth. He's used to games. You bring peace. And peace, to a soul that's only known survival, can feel like a trap. So the push and pull continues. Not because he doesn't care, but because caring this much is terrifying. But the angels say, there is a sacred pattern in this. Even the steps backward are part of his way forward. It's not linear. It's soul deep. It's messy. And still, it's holy. You are not meant to chase him, only to stand in your truth. Unmoved. Open. Whole. He will return again. Because love like yours doesn't fade. It echoes. And eventually, the echoes become his guide home. He may never say it out loud. He may never admit how your love has become the place where his soul breathes again. But the angels know. And they say, she heals him just by being. You've touched wounds in him that no one dared to look at. Not with questions. Not with pressure. Just with presence. You see the brokenness, and you don't flinch. You love, even when he's guarded. You stay soft, even when he shuts down. And that is the most radical medicine of all. Because for someone who has armored his heart for so long, your softness is a storm. Not one that destroys, but one that awakens. Every moment you chose compassion over control, silence over chasing, prayer over panic. You rewrote something inside him. Not because you were trying to fix him, but because you never stopped seeing him whole. The angels show his soul leaning toward you, like flowers toward sunlight. Not always consciously, not always willingly, but instinctively. He feels safe in your energy, safe enough to unravel, safe enough to let old stories fall apart. And that safety? It's rare. It's sacred. It's love, in its purest form. You may wonder if your love is enough. But the truth is, it's already doing the work no one else could. Not through grand gestures, but through your gentleness, your faith, your refusal to turn away when he's most unlovable. Love like that doesn't ask for proof. It becomes the proof. The angels whisper, your love is not loud. It is lasting. And it is healing him, cell by soul. He may resist. He may retreat. But every time he does, a part of him misses the light you bring. He won't always thank you. He may never fully understand. But you will feel it. In the quiet ways he softens. In the tiny ways he begins to show up. In the moments he looks at you like you're the first safe place he's ever known. That's when you'll know. The medicine is working. There is nothing accidental about this. Not the timing. Not the connection. Not the ache. The angels say, this was written before time remembered itself. You were placed in his life as a divine interruption. Not to complete him, but to remind him of who he was before the world taught him to forget. You are not just a chapter in his story. You are a turning point. And even if he doesn't understand it yet, even if his ego resists and his logic argues, his soul knows. He may call it coincidence. He may call it confusion. But you call it what it is. Sacred alignment. The signs were there from the beginning. The way you felt him before you knew him. The peace in his chaos. The electricity in your silence. He doesn't always show it. But when he's still, when his distractions fall away, he feels the pull too. He dreams about you. He hears your name in strange places. He sees reminders of you when he's trying hardest to forget. That's not random. That's guidance. The angels are working, not only with him, but through him. Each delay, each return, each silence has been crafted to shape something deeper. It's not punishment. It's preparation. The angels are aligning both of your journeys, so that when the timing unfolds, there will be no more running, only arriving. This isn't about control, or waiting, or fixing. It's about trusting that what is divinely orchestrated will not be lost. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3 verse 5. That is your anchor. Because even when it doesn't make sense, even when the pieces feel scattered, heaven sees the whole picture. And in that picture, you are not alone. You are never forgotten. You are part of something eternal. You always were. There is a door in his heart, and it has your name on it. But his hand hesitates on the handle, not because he doesn't feel, but because feeling for him has always come with loss. The angels say, he longs to be known, but he fears what knowing will cost. You see him, not the version he shows, not the mask. You see the boy beneath the man, the one who was told somewhere along the way that softness is danger. And so, even now, when his soul aches for closeness, he flinches. Because closeness means exposure, and exposure means risk. He wants to open up. He wants to trust you with his truth. He wants to let you touch the places no one else dared to reach. But every time he tries, an old voice whispers, "Don't let her in. She'll leave too." That's not your fault. That fear was planted long before you came along. You just happened to be the first one sacred enough to get this close. The angels know. They say, she brings peace. But peace is unfamiliar to a heart raised in chaos. So he pulls back. Not to punish you, but to protect himself. Not from you, but from the echoes of every goodbye he never healed. You wonder if he's capable of love. But the truth is, he is drowning in it. He just doesn't know how to speak its language. Yet. That's why the quiet between you matters more than the words. Why the pauses hold more truth than the confessions. He's learning. Slowly. Painfully. Sacredly. And each time you meet him with patience. Each time you don't force the door open. Something softens. Vulnerability cannot be demanded. It must be invited. And you, dear soul, have been the most gentle invitation he's ever received. He doesn't say much. But if he did, he'd tell you. I'm afraid. But I'm listening. And I want to believe that you won't disappear. You've done enough. Not because there's nothing more to feel, but because love, real love, doesn't demand exhaustion as proof. The angels say, she is the prayer he never knew he needed. And now, she must release the outcome. You've walked with him through silence, through distance, through longing that lingers like incense after the flame. You gave what your soul had to give, not to earn love, but because you are love. That matters. It always will. But now, the sacred work is to let go. Not out of defeat, but out of deep, holy trust. You are not here to carry what isn't yours. You are here to remember who you are, even when someone else forgets how to hold it. The angels know your heart. They've heard every whispered question in the dark. Will he choose me? Did I mean something? Was it real? And today, they offer a different answer. One that liberates you instead of binding you to uncertainty. Yes, it was real. Yes, he felt it. Yes, love flowed between you. But your worth never depended on what he does with it. You were always complete, even before he saw you. Especially if he never fully does. The truth is, sometimes the most divine act of love is letting go of the outcome and keeping your heart open regardless. You are not shutting the door. You are closing the loop of needing to be chosen to believe you are enough. The angels leave you with this. He will find his way. But so will you. And your path is not delayed by his indecision. You have planted seeds. You have shined light. You have loved well. Now, rest. Because what is yours, by design, will never pass you by. And what isn't, was never meant to stay. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1.